7 p.m. This is the Londonderry Town Council meeting from Monday, May 19th, 2025. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
I will open public comment, and Dan wanted to start off.
Get my mic next to me here. I received a few calls and this is for the council to consider. A few calls this weekend about House Bill 99. House Bill 99 involves tax credits to our disabled veterans. So I researched this a little bit, and we had Article 34, which was a property tax exemption 100% for permanent and totally disabled veterans, on the ballot recently, this past year. Just so you're aware, 2,186 people voted for that, and only 1,379 against it. So people are in support of this. And currently the town gives the $4,000 credit, and under House Bill 99, it ups it to $5,000 for another $1,000. So I'm not sure, being a new guy up here, what the process is that we have to bring this up on the council end of it, if we have to have a public hearing, or,
I believe, is this something going to the House right now?
no, it's already passed. And the
Has
gov-
it passed the Senate?
Yes,
Yep.
passed
Sorry.
Then I think we'll then also have to wait for the governor to sign off it
And
or
sign.
veto it,
and
right?
signed.
She has signed it?
Yeah, yeah.
When
So-
did that get signed?
Yeah. So I'm just bringing it up so we can get ahead of it a little bit.
Of course.
So we're not,
So we'll put it on the,
We'll have to put it on the
we'll
agenda.
put it on the
item.
agenda and have public
yeah.
open.
I don't know, Ted, if we have to have a public hearing on it, or what do we do, so.
We'll have a public hearing because we have to accept it as a council. We don't have to accept, we can have 4,000 out, we don't have to accept the 5,000. So we'd have a public hearing to accept the 5,000.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I just thought it was,
Thank you for the update, Dan.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else with public comment?
Good evening. I'm Larry Casey, 35 Forest Street. I'm also the chair of the Londonderry Arts Council. I was here a couple of weeks ago with Steve and Julie Lee to talk about Concerts on the Common, but also about the launch of our new town literary and art journal, Wild Apples. And I wanted to let you know that we had a launch party at the Parmenter Barn Saturday afternoon. Thank you, Councilor Combs, for attending. It was a raving success. I mean, first of all, the skies cleared and the rain and wind subsided, so we caught a break with the weather. But it was attended to the point where we had all the chairs filled and people were spilling out of the barn door. And I promise all of you that I'm going to bring hard copies of that journal to the council when we reprint. We sold out very quickly on Saturday, but it is available online. And the other reason I'm here is that the Arts Council has voted unanimously to nominate Paige Williams as an alternate member. She's on the agenda, and you can bring her up when you want to talk to her. But I just want to say that when she and I first met early in the year, she reached out to ask about participation in the Arts Council, and I told her the path, to getting on our team was to volunteer, to show up, roll up your sleeves, get things done. She immediately started engaging with other members of the Arts Council, and she was instrumental in the success we had over the weekend. She just really pitched in and worked with Dasha Bulatova, the chief editor, to make that event come off. So I look forward to you guys having a chance to speak with her. But thank you for all your support. We
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Again, not really for short people, but my name is Maura Ryan. I live at 2 Snowberry Hollow. I'm here to urge you to pass the 5K tax credit for disabled veterans. In doing research on this bill and having worked on this bill for the past, 2-3 years, the state of New Hampshire has the worst disabled veterans tax benefit in the country. And the people who are permanently and totally disabled make about 1.5 times the poverty level, which is nationally. Support for 100% tax exemption for disabled veterans has 92% favorability nationwide, and it will help our veterans. We just had a case with a veteran who was like 2 years behind taxes and couldn't afford to keep up and could not go out and get another job because of age restrictions. So this is something designed to help veterans who are permanently and totally disabled. So I do urge you to pass it. It was signed by the governor on Friday and is scheduled to go into effect in 60 days from last Friday. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take any questions, but I do know quite a bit about this, so happy to answer.
Thank you.
I hope you come to the next meeting to be able to, when the people come to have public comment, can ask questions, and you might be a good resource for all of us at that point. Does anyone happen to know how many people right now in Londonderry are taking advantage of this? Okay.
72.
How many?
72.
72. Thank you.
So we'll increase it by 71K, but it's possible it will be less. The max will be 71K.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else with public comment?
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, he was getting ready to get up before, so I'll let him go first.
My name's Edward Ford. I'm currently homeless in Londonderry. I was wondering if the council knew that in 2018, the United States Supreme Court issued an order to every police district in the nation to drug test every officer. Some police departments dismissed this order and decided not to drug test their officers. I was wondering if you were aware of the last time an officer in your district was drug tested, or any ideas as to the Supreme Court order in 2018 that went out. Also, I was going to ask permission to solicit for signatures on a petition to make sure that your police department is drug tested and drug tested more often. This Supreme Court order came down in 2018 because of a huge human trafficking and cocaine problem that the Justice Department is having right now. So it is kind of important that you as council members have authority over your police chief and are aware of the situation.
Okay. I'll ask our town manager if he can put his second hat on and look into that. If he has any comments.
So we do drug test every single police officer through their background process before they are hired on. At any point in time as a Londonderry police officer, I deem or supervisor deems the potential to inquire or drug test, we can, but everyone is drug tested.
Has anyone been drug tested?
Sir, address the
sorry.
chair, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but has anyone been drug tested since the 2018 Supreme Court order?
So I believe he said
do-
that the new hires have been drug
The
tested.
new hires, yes, but this was across the board.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Justice Department was to be just drug tested in 2018.
I will look into it.
I had one police chief out west literally go on Facebook Live and smash apart a Japanese toilet, because I work for UN Peacekeeping,
Okay.
and I work for the United States Supreme Court. I had the Japanese send drug testing toilets to every police department upon this 2018 order. One of the police chiefs took it upon himself to smash the toilet on live stream Facebook. Obviously, it wasn't this district. This district police department has been great to me since I've been in town. no complaints here, but this is my job and something I have to do. Another officer, upon taking the drug test in the Japanese toilet, called and personally thanked me because the toilet diagnosed a kidney malfunction that he was having. And if it would have been prolonged any further, he would have had to undergo surgery or possibly have died. So I am aware that your police department should have one of these toilets that was given to them in 2018. I don't know where it is. I believe dispatch said it was in storage somewhere.
I will follow up with the town manager for you, and
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And permission to solicit for,
I can't stop you soliciting. I just have to do it outside in the lobby,
okay.
but I can't stop you from soliciting.
All
But I just asked you not to do it at
Well,
the
I
end of the meeting.
mean, on the street, bike path, whatnot. And,
Yeah, or just in the lobby is fine.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Anybody else with public comment?
Dennis Martin, 182 Pillsbury Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire. I'm in here for the support of the Bill 99B, obviously. I know what it's like to be homeless. I was a homeless veteran. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. In the time I've lived in Londonderry, the home I live in now, especially in the last few years, even though I get the tax break, my tax value of the house, the taxes I'm paying has gone up over $1,000. So getting that $5,000 a year would be a big help. It really certainly will, you know. And if it's been passed, and if, like Dan says, if over 2,000 people, is that what you said, voted for it? That's
Correct.
over 50% of the vote, right? So that goes to show you that people in this town support veterans, which I know they do, because you folks know I run the Blues Festival and what I do for veterans. So, you know, so I hope when we do this public meeting, we get support, and this bill passes up to $5,000, so we can get this taken care of and kind of put it to bed, so.
So my understanding, Dennis, is that we have a public hearing, we come out and we vote on it, and then after 60 days, it can be enacted. So right around July 16th is when it becomes effective.
I wonder if, since it becomes active as state law after 60 days when the governor signs it, we might not be able to have a public hearing until after that time.
I will look into it.
Yeah, so
I will find
if
out.
we can have
I will
staff
find
look
out if we
into
can
what the parameters
have the
and what
meeting
details
before, or if we have to wait till after the 16th. But either way, we will have a meeting, Dennis.
Okay, all right, good. I
Just want to make sure we're
Thank you.
following the state law
Yeah.
on how to pass it correctly.
We will definitely have a meeting.
You know, again, keep in mind, the people of this town are okay with this being passed.
Yeah.
Of course, I just want to make
what
sure
I'm
we're
saying?
following the right state laws to make sure we're passing it correctly with timing.
Okay, because it's, you know, it's a big help to,
Oh,
you know.
certainly.
You know, I'm a veteran, as you all know that. Aura's a veteran, and she's worked very hard on this bill in the last few years. So it's important that we really take, you know, people say, oh, I think we should take care of our veterans. And I hear that all the time. Well, this will show how much we're going to take care of the veterans in this town. So,
Thank you,
thanks.
Dennis. Appreciate it. Anybody else with public comment? Well, oh, you, sir.
Good evening, Bob Robichek, 13 Clover Lane. Because I'm going to talk about the PUD, I want to be clear that I'm doing it as a Londonderry resident, not as a member of any board or committee in town that I may be involved with. Also support veterans. I think it's a great idea. As I mentioned in a prior town council meeting, the current 2024 PUD ordinance, the most recent edition, is both strong and weak in a lot of ways, and I'm going to try to be brief, okay, but please hear me out. While Londonderry's ordinance likely aims to promote flexible, high-quality development, but it has flaws: ambiguity, limited public input, excessive flexibility, weak environmental protections, in some cases missing housing mandates and enforcement gaps. And these put together aren't unique to Londonderry, but they reflect broader challenges in PUD ordinances in New England and throughout the country, where you're trying to balance developer incentives with public welfare. It's tricky. it may be beneficial as a suggestion, and these are all suggestions, I'm not being critical of planning or the town, to temporarily suspend the current PUD until it can be updated, undergo thorough review and benchmarking with other New Hampshire towns and national models, and there's plenty, to amend the ordinance with clear metrics, stronger safeguards, and more robust enforcement. And just want to share a couple of quick points on that. I appreciate your patience. One of them is vague criteria. The ordinance uses subjective terms like enhanced community character, provide significant public benefit without really clear metrics. For example, the ordinance states that PUD should be promoting general welfare. It doesn't really quantify what that really means or what significant is or adequate is for infrastructure contributions, and that's a big issue. The other thing, so it creates issues for enforcement by the town and the planning board. Weak public participation, that's a big one. The ordinance mandates one public hearing before the planning board, but it doesn't really require additional engagement such as neighborhood meetings, advance notifications. Unlike comment periods, the process relies heavily on developer plans with limited resident input until very late stages. That was mentioned before by the planning board. As a result, residents may feel excluded, especially for larger PUDs that can have a significant impact on their neighborhood. This can erode trust, which we don't want, and lead to opposition, as seen in other towns with contentious PUD approvals. We list them on the website, but public notices are often buried in various places. We need to be much stronger about that and have a clear notification timeline. There's only a couple others. Thank you. Excessive flexible standards. The current PUD allows broad waivers from zoning standards, setbacks, height limitations, parking, with very minimal constraints. And the ability to do so by the planning board is potentially an issue on the PUD if the PUD meets general goals but doesn't cap waivers like a maximum height limitation or parking parking spot relief. As a result of being overly flexible, it can lead to developments that are incompatible with surroundings and constrain infrastructure like roads, sewers, etc., infrastructure in general. The last two are no mandatory affordable housing. The ordinance does state that incentivizes affordable housing through density bonuses, but it's optional, not required. And that's been a big issue, as you folks know, in town with affordable housing. Developers can choose other benefits like open space to qualify for bonuses, bypassing the housing need. The current PUD ordinance references affordable housing as a potential benefit. It doesn't really mandate it, unlike model ordinances requiring clearly defined fixed percentages based on income levels ranging from 10 to 20% of the units in the development. Those would be market workforce housing that would be indexed by income levels that are clearly stated so that you can understand, somebody qualifies or not. Last but not least, this is a big one, and that's the enforcement issue and monitoring, and that's something that I've seen in my practice as well. The ordinance lacks mechanisms to ensure long-term compliance with PUD commitments, specifically how to, maintaining open space in that PUD, completing infrastructure projects, which are critical. The PUD requires a development agreement, which is, I have the actual PUD language here, but that's actually being disputed by people even on our planning board about whether it's needed or not. It's so vague in the language. But does not mandate, as far as I can tell, performance bonds, regular inspections, or penalties for noncompliance, which are huge. Yeah. I'm almost done. Thank you. Yeah. As a result, it's difficult to enforce the PUDs. So we have a chance to do something for the community to improve it. I think it doesn't have to take years or even many months. We have a lot of other models to look at, but we need to just do better. Thank you. And I actually have a copy of this I'll leave with you folks. Yeah. And,
thank you, Bob.
I try to do as quick as I can.
You did. Mr. Chair. You just went a few seconds over, so you did good. Anybody else with public comment?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
Jesus, sorry about that.
Hey.
Thank you, sir.
Marge Bedoy, 189.
Sorry about that.
189 Litchfield Road. I too am speaking on my personal opinions, and I would like to just ditto what he said. The PUD, it's got faults. Those faults are being exploited by developers, and we need to take a break and try and repair this PUD ordinance. Much like a car that needs to be repaired, you don't try and do it while you're driving the car. We need to take this ordinance off the road, put it in for repairs, bring it back when it's fixed. And I don't know what everyone is afraid of. We've got the town council that says, oh, we can't do anything unless planning says we need it, and planning doesn't want to do anything unless town council gives them permission. So I think we can't keep sitting on our thumbs and just waiting for somebody else to do it. We need to act. And then on a similar topic relating to PUDs, I was contacted by residents of the Baldwin that are having issues with the Woodmont. I'm going to read the email that this gentleman sent me. I thought I should shoot you a note regarding construction debris from the apartment complex being built across the road. Many residents here have talked to me about it. The complex being built is large and higher than the Baldwin. The wind picks up the debris, sand, and topsoil and blows it across the road. It lands in retaining ponds, wetlands, and everywhere. The developer seems to occasionally send someone out to pick it up. Residents here are pick up armloads of it, but much of it is inaccessible for residents to pick up. I think anyone would agree residents at a retirement community should not be picking up after a developer next door, especially in steep water retention areas. I have heard complaints about the area north of Baldwin where dirt is being dumped also has trash being dumped there. It seems to me that there are Conservation Committee, Beautify Londonderry, and Building Department issues with the debris in question. So I don't know
I'll ask
who.
the town manager to look into it and get back to me.
Could I just?
Oh, absolutely, go ahead.
So this is the first I've heard of it. Could you send me a copy
Yes,
of that?
absolutely. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else with public comment?
I do.
Oh.
I got
Okay. We gotta be careful because we gotta keep it to 5 minutes.
Hi. My name's Ann Fenn. I'm 18 Partridge Lane, Londonderry, New Hampshire. And I noticed my name is on your agenda. So I just wanted to note that the reason why I'm resigning is not because the Senior Resource Committee isn't doing an incredible job or that the issue is an important issue in the town. It's just that I'm spread too thin. I've got too many other areas I'm working on, the Utilities Committee, water issues, lots of committees that I'm already on, and I can't give it my full attention. So I just wanted to make that explanation.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Sorry to see you go in.
Yeah. Anybody else with public comment? I can do it under new business if you want. Oh, no. I can do it under new business. I'll let you speak.
Good evening, councilors. Sherry Farrell, your Londonderry Town Clerk. First of all, just a shout out and a huge thank you to our fire department and our police department. Last Monday evening, unexpectedly, they were all called to our home. The house became filled with smoke. We weren't sure what it was. We thought it was an electrical fire. Thank goodness, because of our firefighters and our police officers, they determined it was an air conditioning problem up in the attic. Had they not found it, I don't know what we would be saying right now, but the house filled with smoke, and God bless them all. No one would leave our home or let us back in until the smoke was removed, and then we opened the windows, and everything was good. But we are so fortunate in this town to have the first responders that we do, and including our alert team too. But thank you. So that was the first thing. The second thing, you're probably getting tired of hearing about dogs, but May is Dog Registration Month. It's our grace period month, our final month before our residents can be held accountable and start to get that $1 a month fine. And also, next town council meeting, I'll be coming to you asking you to accept a warrant that right now would have about 1,000 residents' names on it of dogs that are unregistered. Remember, we had 5,500, so we're doing okay. But please, to all of our residents out there, if you know of a dog that is moved or passed on, no longer in the area, please let us know. And also, if you haven't registered your dog yet, please come in and get that done before the end of the month. It's an RSA that we're required to follow in the state. And it does keep all of us safe and our pets safe too. The third item that I wanted to bring up is that I think we all have to remember as elected officials that we're held to a higher level. And I can say I'm Sherry Farrell for Hancock Drive, but ultimately the people of this town elected me, all of you, the governor, all people that are elected to represent them, and we don't get to pick. We can't say, well, today I'm a town clerk, but later on I'm not going to be. It's 24/7. When they check up our names, that's what they're asking us to do. And I think that's just something we always have to keep in mind. And I think we have to be extremely careful of the influence we can have because we are elected officials in our daily lives. I have to thank Kevin Smith, Chief Bernard, Acting Town Manager Bernard, both of them, and as they stated, without any question or asking on my part, both spoke on behalf of the position of town clerk here in our town. And I really appreciated that, because whether it's me or other people to follow, it's important to bring awareness to it. And I thank them all for doing that. But then after Chief Bernard's presentation, a resident came in to me, and this was last Friday, and said, oh, hey, Sherry, and this person moved here in 65. My family was about 68. So they'd been around a long time. And they said, hey, I'd give you a raise. I'd give you a raise. I'd vote on that. And I was a little surprised by it. And he said, oh, yeah, I saw it in our local paper that you want a raise. And I said, oh, well, explained to him the depth of what that was. But what he was a little surprised by was in the newspaper from May 8th, it actually says, acting town manager pushes for town clerk pay increase. I'd say he was an advocate for me, but I'm not sure that pushes sets a narrative, doesn't it? Because that means, one, it's saying a pay increase. He was speaking to the COLA benefits that I used to get, but the last 2 years I haven't gotten. Not a big jump in pay. He and Kevin did bring awareness to the fact that throughout the state of New Hampshire, given a population of 28,000, full-time supervisory roles, that if you were to hunt, this position would be considered one, if not the lowest paid full-time population. But what was left out in the paper, and even when you flip, and actually overall a lot of the information was correct, but on page 6 it says currently Londonderry pays $71,780 for the role. $71,000. Not bad. But what it forgets to mention is that the position does not receive benefits. My understanding is that benefits in the town of Londonderry range from $40,000 to $50,000 additionally. That's a big difference between someone being paid $71,000, supervising an office of 7, and bringing in and being responsible for what the role requires in a town of 27,000 people. And I think we have to be very, very careful of the narrative that we put out there, because this one resident, and the irony was, as he was leaving, he said, oh, he had no clue, because he thought that I made $71,000 with full benefits, as other employees do. And as he was leaving, educated and informed, I couldn't make this up, but when he turned to walk out, the back of his T-shirt said, fake news. And I just happened to catch that as he was walking out the door. And I don't know what it means or if it's a sign, but I did find it, kind of humorous, or as I often say, a God wink. So he was very grateful, but that's powerful. All of our newspapers are so powerful. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And again, we have a responsibility to the residents, especially when you sit up there, because we listened to Chief Bernard, we listened to past town manager Kevin Smith. We all heard what they said. So what we report is vitally important. And we have the power to really put out the exact right, transparent, true information in every resource that we have. Did I go over?
Thank you. Oh, you're over. I just
Oh, I'm
let
so
you go over
sorry.
with 15
Thank
seconds.
you.
Thank you, Sherry. I didn't want
Thank
to.
you. Thanks so much.
Anybody else with public comment?
Can I just comment on
You-
that?
Second? Okay.
I just
Okay.
have a question.
Okay, is it quick? 'Cause,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Are you aware that the New Hampshire Health Trust that we have the insurance through went into receivership?
I'm not aware of that, but I will ask the town manager. to look
You
into
need
it
to know
first.
that, and you
All right.
need to look into that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I
Dan,
just-
you wanted a couple,
yeah.
like 2 extra minutes? We can close public comment?
I just wanted to make a comment about the town clerk's position that was made last week, because we had a gentleman once come up and say, do your research, do your research. So I did do some research, all right? And, the fact that that person hasn't received a COLA in 3 years, well, if I went to the town report, and for 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, there was an increase every year. So I just want to correct that, okay, that it wasn't the same amount for 3 years. That's what I wanted to bring up. But I wanted to also touch a little bit about our planning board, since it was mentioned earlier. On the 14th of May, we had a planning board meeting. There was a developer that came in, and the public needs to know this, that part of the agreement that was made with the planning board, it wasn't an agreement? You didn't sign off on it, Kelly?
I want to,
I'm not telling you who it is, I'm just,
no. When you say agreement, I think people think like development agreement, memorandum of understanding, things like that. That's not. It was conditionally approved.
okay, it was conditionally approved, or the developer is going to put a base on the road, and the town, the planning board has hooked the town for the top for $65,000.
There was no cost associated with the approval.
No cost associated
There's no
with it.
monetary.
But what what I want to bring out is the
I guess
fact.
I'm just trying to clarify that.
Okay, what I want to bring out, Kelly, and I want to clarify it also, is there is a cost to the taxpayers to put that top on. And it was mentioned at the meeting between $60,000 and $65,000.
All I'm saying is, I don't know the cost. It wasn't verified. Sure, that sounds accurate to me, but that wasn't attached to the approval.
But that was-
Yes, they're not putting down a top
Let me
coat.
just,
I know, but don't argue back and forth.
I don't want to argue back and forth.
You're just, you
Fine.
keep looking at me like you're,
No, I don't want to argue back and forth. I just know that when I was at the meeting, the cost of $60,000 to $65,000 was mentioned to put the top on that road. And the planning board is giving conditional approval, and we, the taxpayers, are going to have to come up with whatever the cost is down the road. It might be 65 this year, might be more next year, but I think that needs to be I think the council needs to address this with the planning board.
Where
That-
was this location?
Wilson Road.
can I, Mr. Chair?
Oh,
can I
please.
just add
It's-
one thing?
Yeah, please.
I think it's important to note that this is a town road, okay, already.
Yep.
So the town's responsible for that road regardless. I understand what you're saying as far as the conditions associated with the approval.
Yep.
They're associated with a one-way road standard versus a two as we typically require, absolutely. But in terms of a monetary value associated with the conditional approval, I think that that wasn't placed as part of a condition. Is I guess what I want to make clear. The planning board didn't say the town of Londonderry is responsible for $65,000 of top coat on the road. They don't have the authority to do that.
I just want to make one last comment, Ron. Okay. And the last comment was, the consensus of the board, the planning board, is that town council direct the town manager to direct the town staff to prioritize Wilson Road. Okay? I have an issue with that as a council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will close public comment. Next on the agenda is board appointments and reappointments. First is the acceptance of resignation of Ann Fenn from the Senior Resource Committee. I need a motion to accept her resignation.
Motion to accept Ann Fenn's resignation
Motion.
from the Senior Resource Committee.
Motion from Ted,
Second.
second from Deb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Ann, thank you for your service. Next is the appointment of Paige Williams as an alternate ad hoc member to the Londonderry Arts Council. Ms. Williams, are you here? Excellent.
Hello, everyone. Paige Williams, 28 Woodbine Drive.
If you want to say a little bit about yourself, and then I'll ask the council if they have any questions for you.
Sure. So I moved to Londonderry this past late summer, and I was looking for some ways to give back to the community, and I found the Arts Council. I have a background in arts and entertainment myself, so I thought that I could help contribute, and I think that the arts are a great way to foster community and really bring everyone together in person, which I really value. So I wanted to give back, and I reached out to Larry, and he was a wonderful resource, and he showed me some ways to get involved as a volunteer. So I've been volunteering for a few months now.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions?
Not only.
I think based on the recommendation, I will accept a motion to appoint Paige Williams.
So moved.
Motion by Ted,
Second.
second by Deb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does she need to see the clerk, or is it different?
Yes, I'll send you an email
Okay.
tomorrow.
Thank you. New business. Resolution 2025-08, adopting the 2005 Londonderry Hazardous Mitigation Plan update. Ms. Karen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, this is related to the hazard mitigation plan. This is a federally required document, and it's per the Disaster Mitigation Act, which was enacted in the year 2000. So the town formally adopted the previous plan in 2021. So we have done some fairly minor updates since that time, mostly to stay up to date with the Code of Federal Regulation requirements, some minor formatting, things like that. And another significant change that we made is we had updated our floodplain management ordinance, which obviously directly ties to flooding and that natural disaster. So making sure that was accounted for in this plan. And again, in order to receive federal funding for any natural disasters that occur in town, we have to have this plan up to date and adopted. So the request before this evening is to adopt the 2025 updated plan so that we can remain eligible for that funding should we need it. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody on the council have questions for Cal?
I got one to
Good.
start with. Going through, I guess, down on page 62 on quite a few of these charts down here, different departments and area within town that says that we're either doing poor, fair, good, or excellent. And one that kind of struck me, which I was surprised about, was the town radio system. And I know a few years back we went ahead with improving the radios for the fire department, and I believe also potentially the police as well, so that they can communicate better throughout town, as we had quite a few dead zones. And I'm surprised that it was labeled in here as fair and need to study a new radio system, because the radios that we had got, we were told that, you know, they could work everywhere. So I'm just wondering, was this looked at?
It was, so unfortunately, I can't speak to the specifics about the radio system.
Gotcha.
So that's the assessment that the review process through the state Homeland Security Office and FEMA and municipal staff assigned, and that was where we're at so far.
Do you know when that was done?
When,
I guess when they looked at this part of it.
so 2021 through now,
Okay.
through current.
Okay. I'm just kind of surprised that they said it was fair and needed to be looked at. So, considering I know we spent a good deal of money on improving the radio systems, as I believe both departments had said they're not good at the time. So, that's my only question I had. But
I can't speak.
Ted, the specifics of that, I'm not sure either. I think that was done maybe 6-7 years back. I don't have the exact date. Obviously, I didn't peruse that section of it. But there is a member of the LFD who oversees their radio communications as well as the PD. Can try to find out what upgrades were made at that time. I knew there were some areas in town, some spots on Mammoth and up by Scobie Pond, et cetera, that were still kind of on the lower frequency. But I can just see if we have any update for that for you.
Great. I mean, the last thing I want is for you guys to be having an issue where you can't communicate. And that was one of the things that we were striving for, is to improve communications if there's ever an issue. So
Got it. Yep.
Any other questions?
Just a very lengthy document, a very interesting read.
I will accept the motion to accept Resolution 2025-08.
So moved.
Motion by Ted,
Second.
second by Deb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Next, approval of raffle permit policy and process.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Chair. So recently, we became aware through an inquiry from a nonprofit organization that RSA 287A:7 requires that towns issue permits to charitable organizations seeking raffles that last longer than 12 hours. Meaning that if you sell the tickets and hold the drawing within 12 hours, no permit necessary. Otherwise, they're required to get a permit from the municipality where the drawing will be held. And so this is quite simply putting that policy into place to adhere to state law. It's a costless permit. And what I'm here asking you today is to approve the policy and approve the town manager as the designee to sign said permit.
Any questions from the council?
So how does this work for a organization where it's like a month-long raffle that's going on and you buy into?
You just submit the form. I included an example of the online form. They submit the form with the details, and then we give them a permit.
So for that kind of situation, you would actually need a permit, where this one.
This is the permit.
Right, so I guess I'm just a little confused, I guess.
So-
Because you're saying for ones that are 12 hours or less, don't need a permit, but
Yep.
ones that would forgo on for that month kind of time period, you would now need a permit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You technically needed it. This state law has existed for a while.
We just have
had-
not been enforcing it.
Exactly. There was a gentleman who works in an organization that spans multiple towns actually contacted us asking for the permit. So this is just putting it in to comply with state law. This permit process comes from most of what other towns have. It's very similar.
Does this permit cost anything for
No.
any?
Nope.
It's just an item to have on file.
It is, yes, exactly. It is part of, because raffles are technically considered, this is under the gaming RSAs. So this is to combine with the gaming RSAs.
Okay.
But for example, somebody doing, like you said, a calendar raffle, the Grange will be raffling off a quilt this summer. The Rotary Saves Christmas raffle, it's just quite simply fill out the form, town manager will send a letter. Very
And that's a
simple.
question.
Can we also send out that information to the different school groups and whatnot? Because I know a lot of the school groups, they do month-long raffles too.
I'll
that
make
they
sure it
would
gets
have.
disseminated where it needs to go,
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah, that was my question. This applies to the schools as well?
It applies to any charitable organization.
So if a PTA is going to be running
They're a charitable organization, yeah.
a raffle to...
Again, it's actually, this form that you see is actually an online form. So they can just go on the website, fill it out, they'll get a letter.
Okay,
That's all it is.
I think it's sort of to protect people, like, so say we're doing a raffle over a month and you forget that you put in for, so that they actually have to follow through with
Giving out the
giving
stuff.
something to somebody, not just taking all this money and never
Gotcha.
giving it out. I believe, I'm just, that's my speculation as to why this is in place.
I believe it's part of the gaming process, like what you were saying.
But I think it also
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
not have scamming people.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
I will accept the motion. I believe.
Motion to approve the raffle permit policy as presented and authorize the town manager as the designee to approve raffle permits.
Motion from Ted, second.
Second.
Second from Deb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Approval of minutes. Any objection to the minutes?
You
I don't-
jumped old business, nothing.
We didn't have any, so
Okay,
that's,
all right.
unless you had something.
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve town council minutes 2025.
Motion from Ted.
0505.
I'll second that.
Second from Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Any liaison reports?
Yes, I went to the Wild Apples event on Saturday. It was a wonderful time. As Larry Casey had mentioned, it was full, the whole barn was full with people. I was quite impressed. The musical acts that were performed, the different people who had read some of their submissions, and the artwork that were on display that are in the literary magazine is incredibly impressive. I remember Larry was telling me that the two young women who put together the event were worried that they weren't going to get anyone to show up, and it was a quite shocking number of people. So I was pretty impressed, and I look forward to getting copies of the literary magazine when they present them to us, and I know that they're going to be printing more, and we'll have them for sale at Concerts on the Common.
Excellent. Any others, Deb?
Yep. I had two.
Yep.
Recreation meeting, a lot of great stuff going on, but they are concerned about the tennis courts that are going to need to be redone. Like the patching that they've been doing is really not holding up for tournaments and whatnot. So the school, one of the women on the board started speaking with the school because the schools use the public tennis courts as their tennis courts. So they're looking to contribute, but they are also looking for alternative ways to gain some money to replace those tennis courts and the basketball court, which has been a long time coming. And hopefully they'll come up with some good ideas for that. But the other meeting was Beautify Londonderry. Of course, this was the week that they kicked off their big event. A lot of volunteers, a lot of cleanups. I know there's tons of blue bags all over the place. So it was a very good or a very successful kickoff to the week-long, and hopefully the rain will stay away.
Yeah.
Cleaning up the town.
Anything from Dan or you?
Just senior resource. We had our meeting. Didn't have a quorum, unfortunately, and we're just hurting for members. And if anybody out there wants to join the senior resource, please reach out to Kirsten.
Excellent. That's good. Town manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week, we had an employee milestone here at the town hall. DPW director put out on social media recognizing Donna Lamoli. She's the executive assistant upstairs. 20 years of service to the town of Londonderry, and as you folks can imagine, it's a busy job that she is tasked with. And it's worthy of noting yet again how long people work in their tenure here for the town of Londonderry. Speaks volumes. So I wanted to share that with you folks. Congratulations to Donna. Then one last clarification on the comment that was made. It was not New Hampshire Health Trust. It's actually called New Hampshire Interlocal. So the HR director, Human Resource, Tara Koza, as well as Justin Campo and other staff members are on top of these things. They do pay attention to when these things come up. If there's anything that the town council is going to need when these changes do take place in our state or for our town, we shall get that to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, sir. Assistant town manager report.
I'm all set this evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Glenn Douglas, 6 Overlook Ave. PUD again. We had a couple people talk about the PUD this morning, or earlier. My understanding is the process was the town council sent it to the planning board was going to review it. At the last planning board meeting, the chair of the planning board said he will not do anything without a consensus of the town council. I sent an email to the town council with a video clip of that and said, what is the process? Didn't get brought up in liaison reports. So it seems to be we're kicking the can back and forth. The other thing, as far as I'm mentioning planning board, is there's a lot of bills up in Concord. I sent an email to about 35 different board members on various boards and said, hey, you might want to be aware that the New Hampshire Municipal Association is opposed to these bills. Just an FYI. Got 0 responses. No one on any board in town responded. Planning board did. They actually mentioned the email that they received and said they only deal with ordinances and laws. They will take no opinion, and they're not really interested in looking at it until whatever becomes law becomes law. I don't understand how the people that are supposed to be representing the town of Londonderry are not even finding out what's going on in Concord to say, this is good for Londonderry, or this isn't good for Londonderry. Because right now, I don't see anything as far as what's going on. All we're hearing is this changes local control and this and this and this and that. And no one on any of these boards has any interest in even informing the public what's going on.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else with public comment?
I do.
Go ahead.
I just want to remind everyone that Monday, the 26th, is Memorial Day, and there will be a parade starting at Lincoln Way, which is right after the Central Fire Station, that road, and going down to Glenwood Cemetery Town Common will be services, taps, echoing taps, so little stories about some of the veterans. And, you know, Memorial Day is what it is. It's to take memory of all the soldiers, women, men who have gave their ultimate sacrifice, and some who are still fighting, and some who have been challenged, just to remember that freedom isn't free and that it came at a cost, and to think about that before we go barbecuing and having a nice long weekend. So I hope that people do attend the services at 11 o'clock on the 26th, starting at Lincoln Way, ending at the Glenwood Cemetery Town Common. That's all.
Thank you, Deb. Anyone else?
I have one last
Okay.
public comment. A reminder for everyone that next Tuesday in the morning, you can meet and greet with the future new town manager, and as well in the evening hours, you can meet him as well at the police community room. Chief, can you remind everyone and acting town manager what the hours are?
Happy to do that. It'll be Tuesday morning from 9 to 11, PD Community Room. And then the same day, in the evening, it's going to be from 6:30 to 8:30, PD Community Room.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ted,
Second.
second by Deb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you. Thank you all for attending.